Hey guys, welcome to Shredcraft IRC and my very first live stream. So, today we are going to be building the D-Like LP-86 RC drift car. And I went ahead, opened the box already. This one's going to be a brushed build, never done one of those before. And I picked this up from Scale Science. And I believe he sourced these chassis from RC Supremacy. So shout out to both Scale Science and Brad over at RC Supremacy for always having what you need. Like to always support your local hobby shop because those are the guys keeping this hobby going. So go ahead and get this camera set down where you guys can kind of see, I suppose. Let me see. I haven't done this live stream thing. Oh, don't know what just happened there. Okay. So, camera's back. And I'm checking my other stream feed here. Make sure we're all set up. If anyone can let me know if the audio is working, that'd be great because I don't have that. And we'll go ahead and get started here. So, one of the first things I do when I always start a kit is I trace the chassis. So I went ahead and pulled out the chassis plates and I have everything traced here. And these are going to be used as templates to set up files on the computer. So hopefully we can cut some chassis pieces. And I know there's a few that I'm missing here, like the servo mount and a couple other things, but I will get there, and these will be part of a video series on the channel showing kind of how I produce parts and my design processes. So first thing I do, start with some paper templates, and then we'll get this box out of the way because everything is out here on the table. And then we are gonna dig into this. So LP-86, it's a very budget-friendly, affordable, kind of back to rudimentary basics RC drift car. And I'm planning to do a very budget basic electronics setup on this because I've only run brushless electronics on my other RC drift cars. And on this one, I figure we're gonna run brushed electronics. So these are stock TTO2 electronics. This is the torque-tuned Tamiya brushed motor and a Hobby Wing 1060. Now it's one of the basic brushed ESCs, usually comes with most RTR cars, crawlers, stuff like that. And then on the servo side, I'm doing the AGF RC B44 BLS servo. Just one of those servos I've moved around to all my builds. Seems to work, it's simple. I can program it on my computer, and it's budget friendly compared to other options for drifting servos. And then the trusty Yokomo V4 gyro, which is just a gyro I've also had in all my cars and something that works and feels great. So yeah, we'll go ahead, get dug into these bags. If you guys have any questions, be sure to leave them there in the comment section. And I got the iPad here for comments so I can kind of keep track. I'm filming on my phone, so it's going to be on a tripod. And yeah, all right, let's get started. So see if we get a view or kind of see what's going on. This starts with bag A here, which I have sitting here. So, looks like we're gonna need the standoffs here. And some ball pins. in some O-rings. Just open these all up. All right, chassis plate, a couple of these standoffs. So, sorry you can't see that, using a hobby knife, chopping the flash. And then, let's see, that's a hub, axle I should say. So, these 20s are in the center. Oops. It's gonna be hard to pay attention and live stream at the same time. And go flange nut, black O-ring, 2mm spacer. This is one of those parts that I've been reading about that you can change. So let's just grab calipers here, 2mm. And then 1mm. And then another black O-ring. Okay. Excuse me. One hold back. It's a similar process. This looks like this is going to be the caster setup for these steering arms. They're going to be tilted, where the front one's taller than the rear one. So that's going to be the lock nut and the black washer, black O-ring. And then back here we have standoffs. And I'll be dropping stuff everywhere. Looks like that's plastic that's going to be threaded in. I have to get some pliers for that. Just get them started here. So now this will be fun that everyone gets to see me live struggling rather than editing my videos where I kind of edit this stuff out, where I'm fumbling around and throwing parts everywhere. See if I can find that standoff. That one. Why? Gross. All right. Good old set of needle nose here. Just gonna grab that flat plastic, something to get a bite on. Thread those up snug. Missed it. There we go. All right, step one, got those on the chassis. I'll just give these a little snug. And then we have the 1 mil, let's see, 2 mil spacer, 5/8 or 5.8 mil ball stud. Looks like it'll be the shock pivot here. Okay. Moving on. All right, first page on a live stream. See if the nerves settle out. Looks like we'll move on to the steering blocks. I don't know what you call these. Front arm assembly. We do have a countersunk side on the bottom here. These look like they'll use the remaining 2 standoffs in the center hole here. Non-countersunk, okay. I was confused for a second. I thought it was a countersunk screw there. Get these started by hand, finish them with the pliers. Someone more diligent might be using an actual wrench on that, but it's plastic. These look like you could probably upgrade these to aluminum standoffs already. Simple enough design. Yeah, LP-86 time. Should be a fun chassis. I liked that it's kind of like a underground, not underground, D-Like's a big company, but budget-friendly option where you don't have to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to get started. It's kind of a cool little, very basic, back to the roots setup. We have our top arm here. And let's see, that is going to go like this. Put it on here. Oops. out of control over here. All right. So, front arm assembly. Very simple, very basic. It's going to pivot on these front points like that, giving this car a wild body roll. And it looks like this next little step here is just these hubs with some tiny little bearings. I can't even hold on to them. And little knuckle. Same process as any drift car. One in the front, one in the back. Take your axle, pop it on through like that, and get a little pin through the axle. Don't let it slide out like that. Hex pops onto the pin. Make sure it spins. And there's a knuckle. Assemble this one real quick. Pin. Hex that I didn't put on straight there. Hex. All right, knuckles assembled. Page 3. Knuckles onto the arm assembly. And this is one of those designs where it goes back to simplicity. What looks like a shock shaft is actually just going to have 2 E-clips on the top and bottom here. And a spring is going to go in between here, giving it super simple kind of front shock. So if you guys enjoy watching somebody fumble, let's see if we get some E-clips mounted on these shafts without losing them. And on camera, on live. All right. Drama free there. Shouldn't commentator curse myself. All right. 2 E-clips successfully on. And nothing below. What's the orientation on the knuckle here? Looks like they're probably bidirectional. Oh, we forgot to put the, I forgot to put the ball stud. See the back hole. Heck yeah, LP-86. Definitely going to be cool for a scale build, I agree. Donovan, yeah. We'll have to definitely make some like scale accessories for this thing. And then just the spring on there. Oh, got my springs bound up together here. Make sure those don't roll away. All right, spring on, E-clip. This one's feeling sketchy. It's on. Safe. All right, so it's like a compression knuckle there. It also has camber built in, so that's interesting. That is not Wonder how many degrees. Maybe we'll throw it on the alignment rack when we're done and see what the stock alignment settings are on this thing. Ball stud on the knuckle. Don't cross thread it. All right, spring going on. And our last E-clip here. Will this be the one that flies across the room into the carpet? Stay tuned to find out. Ooh, didn't like that set. Ooh, that one flew not far. Kind of had a feeling one was gonna have to give me a surprise. You guys have any tricks for E-clips? Boom. E-clip. There's the front arm assembly. Super simple. Love that. All right, moving right along. Page 4. Still bag A. We're attaching that arm assembly to the chassis. Yeah, so the countersunk parts sit on the O-rings that we had originally put on the chassis. And then that looks like the clear O-rings go right on top. Back one gets 2. Take up the slack there. And then a lock, nylock. Simple enough. And there's a little diagram there that says how to space it. The rear one gets 2 mil. Just making sure that bottom one isn't spinning on me. So there's flush, there's just pass. Plate doesn't seem like it's all the way down to me. Oh, my spacers are not all the way down. Okay. Maybe you gotta tighten that top one first to hold everything down. I'm gonna have to get a longer wrench here. Let's see. Okay, 5.5. There we go. And that one's just supposed to be flush. And then this one, 2 mil. Feels like it could maybe be more. See that gap? All right, she flexing. All right, so right along to bag B. Looks like we're gonna be servo setup here. So we can set this away over here. B. Looks like a front bumper assembly there. O-rings in the diaphragm, shock body, body posts. And then our tiny parts right here. Servo saver, interesting. All right. Servo we're using. I guess I'll go ahead and take this horn off because it doesn't look like we'll need it. This is the AGF B44 BLS servo. It's a great budget-friendly option. I've ran this and everything from my TTO2 to my MD1. They're like 50 bucks or something like that. It's a lot cheaper, or a little cheaper than an RSST. They make another version that's in my other car. It's also a good option there, so can recommend. I include the servo horn here. Looks like this is the assembly here. And 3x10. Probably should have opened all the bags. Okay. There's my 10 right there. Starting from the top, working my way down. And these 15s are gonna go front and rear holes there. And I'll just sit that there because we have the base plate. And then some spacers need to go in between that. Five now. Those look like 5 now. So those will go under. Nylock. Ball studs go onto outside here with a nylock. For some reason, it doesn't seem like there's enough thread to reach the nylock there. Oops. So again, that's one of those parts you could always upgrade, is change those ball studs. If you're gonna, maybe we'll build a set of turnbuckles out of titanium or something in the future. Crank those suckers. Take our servo assembly, get these spacers on. So that's onto there. Struggling getting this thread straight. There we go. Alright, so servo horn assembly just about together here. There it goes. Alright. Looks like the picture, this part. And then we have the servo saver spring assembly here. These are gonna go, oops. See if we got a 25 tooth. There's 24, won't be needing that. 23, won't be needing that. There's the 25. And these rings. Look like they fit on like that. So maybe there's a thinner radius. Who's built one of these things and has a tip on these? They look like they're the same radius to me. Maybe I put one over. Or I just use one. Maybe there's two in there. We'll go with one. All right, saver spring, servo assembly. Pinch it together like that. And onto our servo here. Get it somewhat straight. Okay, I can feel the servo saver working there. All right, and this is gonna go into our base. No countersinks on that. And nylocks on the servo, huh? All right, so there's a part I can make. Let me actually trace this part really quick, because that would be a nice option to make that out of titanium or carbon fiber. Grab my template. You guys get to see a little shredcraft behind the scenes here. Where can you see this? All right. So just very roughly, I trace these, and then I will measure with the calipers and put them into the computer. That way I don't have to have the part in front of me all the time when I'm designing on the computer. I can just have a quick reference page with my measurements on it. So it's more like sketching before the technical drawing. So I have folders full of all the chassis I've traced and made in the past. That way in the future, I could always go back. See, I just shifted it there. Try to get these somewhat straight so I know the distances, but since I know I could draw a line down the middle of that, each side will be equal. So now I have that to reference and measure later in the future. And then we can get this servo going. So those are going to be these 8s, which I'm now realizing I put that spare one in the top of the servo because I see the 10 sitting right there. Live mess up. You're welcome. Tens in there. Plates on. Each of these 8s gets a washer and a nylock, so I'm sure this will be fun to watch me struggle through that process. I'll just finger tight them all. For some reason, these nylocks are just wanting to cross thread on me. Soft steel, maybe. Back in the 1-to-1 drifting days, we had a saying that, hey, cross-threaded, tight is tight. It's more of a joke. We didn't actually live by that. There were some bolts, though, that never came out ever again. All right, struggle begins with my pliers. It's like comically frustrating. Got it. Jordan, these LPs do look fun. I'm excited to give this thing a drive this week. Maybe even today. I've heard they're simple and go together pretty easy, so maybe after this step that will be the case. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I wasn't really expecting this many people to tune in, so it's cool to see you guys joining in on the conversation. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate on this part. All right. Difficult. Not impossible. Just snug these up and throw it around a little bit. All right, servo assembly. I should probably take off this little sheath I got, because I think I know where that's gonna go. Next page. Still on bag B. Looks like we're gonna get the shock together. I probably won't fill it. Or should I? Do you want to see me mess with silicone oil on the live stream? Here we have our shock shaft and an E-clip. Anyone who's built RC drift shocks before know how these go. You can hopefully not lose your E-clip. I put the flat side up to face whatever it's holding on the shaft. Get it started with my thumb and finish it with the pliers. Two-hole piston. E-clip on top of that. Oh, thanks, Jordan. I appreciate it. I am glad someone can appreciate me fumbling around on video putting these together. It is fun. I enjoy putting kits together almost as much as I enjoy driving them. And this is an interesting shock body here because it looks like the O-ring's going to go in the bottom instead of being threaded on. Or am I missing something here? We got a top cap. Trying to bring this shock up. Maybe I should look at the directions. We got our piston on. And then we have a shock guide. Okay, so now the shock guide is stuck in the plastic shock. All right, we're going to take our piston and the orientation shock guide, which is weird. That shock guide is going to block the piston. Not really great design. O-ring, 0.5 mil spacer O-ring, putting it on dry. Maybe I should move that up a little bit. We'll go with a little MIP silicone greaser. And that way those O-rings aren't completely dry. I kind of have the idea that I'm not going to be using this shock, so that's why I'm not putting that much effort into this shock. I've read that these LP-86 shocks will leak within hours, so maybe we can do that, test that theory today. Oh yeah, that is not a smooth shock. Can you hear that? Am I doing something wrong? Yeah, Jordan, those 124th drift cars they're hard. Tiny little parts. I have a 1/18th TRX4M, and luckily those screws are a little bigger than what my SCX24 had. You can actually see them. All right, so not pleased with the shock, so no oil is going to be wasted on these, but we'll finish it out to support the chassis for now. I got some spare RD 2.0 shocks we'll throw on, or shock already built. That looks like the end. I will give this terrible shock the dignity of a shock plier instead of the needle nose. Yeah, JJ, it's gritty. I may have that shock guide on wrong, but I don't see any other piece that would be a shock guide in that fit in that piston. There's no oil in there. I'm not gonna waste oil in that shock. All right, shock done. Turnbuckles, another one of my, I think I'd rather build shocks than turnbuckles. What do you guys think? So 40 mil. Go ahead and just shock plier those bad boys too. Looks like they got these threaded on until there's no thread. And are they both regular thread? It looks like these are both regular thread. So adjusting them means you got to take them all the way off. Random Stuff Garage, what body? Well, I don't have a body yet, but I've had the idea of doing the 2000 Skyline, like the old school Skyline. I think that would be a cool one. I'm not a GT86 fan, and I don't have anything against GT86 fans. I just personally think they're terrible cars, and it's kind of silly that like a Japanese cartoon made a car so popular. Maybe it's not silly, but to me it's interesting because when I was drifting real cars, people came out with 86s that were not did not have SR20s in them, or 4AG 86s or whatever the motor is, and they couldn't drift. They have terrible rear suspension geometry, very underpowered. I thought they were very ugly unless they got like an Origin Lab body kit. I think the Drift Games ones that those guys built for LZ was pretty cool. So I like that style, but not a fan of Initial D, not a fan of the 86. So thinking Skyline body, or if I could find like a 2002 BMW, continue my BMW collection, that's kind of the body I would want. The shock I'm going to run on it later. Jordan, I'm going to take just a Rookie Drift 2.0 plastic shock. Or actually, maybe an RDX, because I have the RDX plastic shocks. I forgot that the Yokomo shocks are on the Yokomo right now. If you look on my story on Instagram, you can see the crash that we had last night, or on Saturday night. We kind of jumped the Rookie Drift. Sent it like off this 10-foot ledge. All right, I'm not even close to 40 mil. Oh, 40 mil on the inside, okay. 42. $2 mil, full spin. Let's see. Catch up with some questions here. Run it stock, no upgrades. I agree. Yeah, definitely want to run it stock and just see, because then one of my favorite things of this RC hobby and upgrades and mods is like when you can feel the upgrade make the car better. So I agree. Drive this stock, totally stock, very basic, low-end brushed electronics, and then you know, upgrade to a nicer brushed motor. I don't even think I'm gonna put brushless on. Own two 86s, that's cool. I mean they're got a cult following. There's definitely cool stuff you can do to them. Not hate, and just not my cup of tea. Let's see. Definitely checking that out. Awesome, awful at the same time. Hey, there's things that can be awful and awesome at the same time. There's 40 mil, but they're not straight, so I'm just gonna hand offset that. $40.2, we're close, but I'm not gonna get a full spin on that. We'll align it later once it's built. All right, turnbuckles. See if you've got any questions. Approve of your solid axle choice, sir. I appreciate it. If you guys didn't see, I turned one of my Vanquish VS410s into a drift truck for a couple nights at the track, and it was actually really fun, but it was not great at drifting. But solid axle builds are fun, I agree. especially having these like really nice or independent suspension cars where the tuning is unlimited and you can just dial in as much grip as you want. Solid axle would be fun to run a zero camber rear car. All right, continue with the BMW theme. Yes, I'm a big BMW fan. I've owned BMW. My first car was an E30 that I bought when I was 14. Worked in a bike shop, saved up money. I think I bought it for $400. And after that, had an E36, turned that into a drift car, bought an E46 daily, traded that for an E46 5-speed wagon, slammed that, put on big wheels, dailied it while I turned my E36 into a competition car, put a V8 in my E36 competition car after I blew up the stock motor on nitrous. And then once the V8 went in, it got a little too expensive. So I sold my street cars. After the E46, I got a Tacoma for a while. And then had to get back into BMW, so now I have an F30 335, and I absolutely love it. It's all-wheel drive, perfect for Colorado. It's a awesome vehicle. So big BMW fan. Would be awesome to find like a 2002 body. If not, the E30 body could be cool. Oh, nice. You got an 88 E30? Nice. Mine was an 88. Mine was a 318. It was slow, but I had that thing in more ditches than you could believe. Yeah, the F30 is just the 335. It's got the M Sport kit on it. It's got the 19-inch M wheels, all the M trim, bumper, exhaust, all that stuff. So I absolutely love the F30. Just cool looking car, and that N55 pulls like a freight train. Nice. SRT4s are fast. I've seen those things walk WRXs. I had actually had a Saab 9000 Aero when everyone was getting WRXs, and I was able to keep up with WRXs and STIs and stuff, so that was fun. It was a 94. Yeah, I agree. All-wheel drive in Colorado is just kind of mandatory. I've had my E46s stranded on C470 in the winter. Had to get them towed because rear-wheel drive in the snow is not the best. All right, our servo is mounted. And now that I'm looking at it, the ball cups are reversed, so I guess I can just give these another half crank. One up, one down. Whichever one's easier to turn by hand. And we pop these on those ball joints. And then we should, in theory, have our steering set up. That sucker's, there we go. I was about to complain. Oh, missed. Pop. Pop. All right, so LP-86 steering on. Yeah, Beef, I was not gonna get one, but then everyone voted on the poll I put up yesterday to or a couple days ago to get the LP-86. That's what the subscribers want to see, and that's what I'm gonna give them. CC01, those are cool solid axles. There's a couple guys at the track with those. If you guys know Earl, aka Supra Drift on Instagram, you should check him out. He does all the Tamiya drift builds. He's got this TTO2 that's more Yokomo than Tamiya, and it absolutely shreds. So definitely check out Supra Drift. He's kind of the master at those Tamiya chassis. Super smooth shock is installed. Heck yeah, S13 in the snow. That was me when I was, 16, driving an E30 in the winter. Like I said, that thing went in people's front yards, porches, ditches. So did the U36 actually at the friend's wedding. We're drifting on these dirt roads, and I put it into this big ditch, and she came running down the road in her wedding dress, yelling at me. It's kind of funny. There's a great photo. Maybe I'll post it on the story sometime. E36 with the wheels in the air and the nose is all down in the ditch. Kind of hilarious. All right, continuing. The D-like LP-86 here, guys. Appreciate the questions and tuning in the conversation. I didn't think it was going to go this well, so I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys watching the channel too, because it's been fun to see it grow. Got some body posts going on the front bumper, Yokomo-like. Says the inside hole. Maybe we'll just get them started. Because who knows, I'll probably end up using magnets to mount the body. I always do magnets in the front and then body posts in the rear, just because I feel like body posts keep it a little more secure. I have a problem running into walls a lot. Keeps the ass of the car on my chassis a little better than magnets. If you guys didn't check out the short that I posted this morning, you should check that out. It's got some pretty cool footage with this new swivel mount I made. And I got a lot of footage this weekend that I still need to go through, but there's some cool stuff. Driving with a bunch of the homies at the track, and we were getting wild, so that's always so much fun to do. Okay, and then that bolts onto the arm. Well, you know what? I might leave this off for now, just because body mount and bumper. We might figure something else out for the front. Hi, what? Doing good. How you doing? Front bumper mount, these little, some countersinkers. Extra parts file. So now to the part that everyone says fails on these is the foam on the rear that helps it twist and flex. And I actually have some foam back here. I do not have double-sided sticky tape. I recently ran out, so the electronics might not get mounted today. Got these plates traced. I already have this piece traced on my templates and this piece. All good options to make out of carbon or titanium. I like how they put the foam in its own bag, like it was gonna get damaged. But yeah, I guess it does kind of have like a memory characteristic Hang on one sec, I got some foam right here. I think we can upgrade. Maybe. I thought I did, but I got another piece. This is also, I guess, kind of a memory foam. Maybe we'll leave that out. Do that Lexan mod everyone does. What do you guys do? Yeah, LP-86 definitely tempting with how affordable they are, considering you know, other kits are a little more expensive. Definitely not going to be like a comp rig or anything, but it's going to be super scale looking. Try to make this thing roll like crazy. Alright, so our roll blocks here. Get a black O-ring and a ball mount. Okay, so those are on this plastic tree. That goes up through the bottom and then gets an O-ring placed over the top there. All right, now a lot of the photos, I've been doing research on this, on the LP-86 past couple days, and I'm now understanding more of what people were talking about for this rear flex plate. So definitely another part we'll be able to design and make in carbon fiber. What this is going to be, don't know yet. Maybe a Skyline, maybe a BMW. Maybe I'll leave it up to the community again. My viewers voted, my subscribers voted on this out of between the Traxxas, the Associated, and the LP-86, and it was overwhelmingly voted for the LP-86. So that's what I'm building here today. Rear tail section is going to get these ball studs threaded in, looks like. Front hole, back hole with a teeny tiny. It's a 4mm M2 or M3. And another one goes at the rear here. Thanks for subscribing, appreciate it. Get those tightened down there. All right, and then these apparently just pop on there. Popped on. All right, there's the rear pivot point. Go on to the next page here. Done the Hoonigan. I'm not really sure what that means. I don't have a Hoonigan car, no. Mainly rear-wheel drive drift cars here. All right, assembling the rear bulk. Guess you'd call it a bulkhead. These are going to get mounted onto this plate with the 8mm. Let's see. So these will be going forward. restarted. They are marked right and left. Would you look at that? Okay, got those two on. Then it's these plates that are going to bridge the gap there. Again, something we could probably make out of carbon. And those are going in with M3x8s. Oh, it's keyed. So there's actually a little notch in the top to key that plate in. I'll just get all four of these lightly started, key it, sink them in the rest of the way. I know everyone kind of puts plastic together differently. Kind of like to get everything started, not just crank one down right away, because plastic can spin on itself and then you won't have a square setup. So see, all those are still kind of sticking out. Then I can sink it down onto those teeth, apply some pressure, and then tighten them in a little cross pattern. Plastic doesn't have to be super tight. They're not going to back out. And then this rear is going to go on the back like that, but I'm going to leave it off because I think we're going to put the motor in, or see if this motor will work. I was curious if the shaft on this Tamiya motor was going to be too short. But now looking at it, it might work. Do that in a minute. Because we got to get this brace piece on, which got away from me here. Ball stud and a spacer, which is here. Nylock on the base. Muscle car. I've got a Corvette already. Also got a replica of my father's Daytona Coupe, Shelby. Not a lot of muscle cars in drifting because they're just not good. Well, I'm not saying that correctly. There are Corvettes because they are the American 240, and the LS is a great motor to put into any car to make enough power to go drifting. So people who try to make their Camaros drift, not a great idea without a lot of money. Corvettes though, they have support to get angle. FDF Race Shop, if you guys haven't checked out his channel, be sure to do that because he has amazing one-to-one info on suspension geometry. He's a genius. He is a literal genius at suspension, and he's built some really cool rigs that show wheel alignments and the effects of drifting and what your wheels are doing in the contact patch throughout your sweep and all that stuff. So definitely check out FDF. Or am I saying that right? They drift Corvettes. He does. He's over at Drift Masters. All right, rear axle assembly. Bag D. All right, good old ball diff. These can be frustrating too, so you might get to see me fail even more. Get all our parts. Oh, there goes the motor. Lay everything out, see what we got. So I did do some research, watched a few videos on some other guys that built these, so I could kind of see what was entailed with this rear diff setup. And before those balls were all everywhere, put them in a tray. Just because you know these be bouncing as soon as you get them out. There we go. It's all safe. Ball diff components. Gonna need to see. These look like diff bearings, axle bearing, axle output. So where do we start? A gear looking thing with, oh, a wheel hex. What the heck is a wheel hex? Well, I know what a wheel hex is, but that doesn't look like it. Well, I know these go over. Threaded side's gonna be this way. Nope. We have any pan car experts in the chat? This is what they call a pan car rear axle. The motor is going to spin directly to a spur on the rear end. If I can figure out how to assemble it. This one appears it gets one of these locking screws. Yeah, exactly, JJ. It's just like a rear pan car. It's essentially a hand car, I guess, in general. I've never assembled one. I've had buddies that raced them, but I've never actually driven one, so I kind of like the simplicity. So then we get a shim on this end. The spacement shaft there. And then is this what they were calling? No. That's the only piece I could think of would be a rear wheel hex, right? Where's the, I guess that's the hex. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so we got that set up. It's going to be the next step, going to be the fearful part. Nice, you used to race them, that's cool. Yeah, they look fast from all the stuff I've seen from them. Little lightweight pieces of carbon fiber with a motor attached to the axle. Alright, so this is going to be the diff setup. And it looks like, start with the diff housing. Just going to be one of those. And then a diff plate. So these are going to be, we're going to want to get some grease going there. Ball diffs work with friction, and the surfaces that all the balls roll against need to be greased in order for them to operate properly, otherwise they just loosen up on you. I've honestly not had any good luck with ball diffs. Alright. So the bearing is going to go, which bearing? 2.5, 3s. Got 2 3s and a 2.5. Looks like the 2.5 is going to go in the spur. Get some of the silicone grease going. Take a little dabble. And I'm just going to kind of make a little string across this plate. Not much here. It's kind of nice when it's sticky because it's going to hold all these pieces together. Then we have the diff plate. Give that a good smear. And then the same thing on the spur. It's going to be the inside ring of holes, it looks like. Yeah, simple, fast machines. I'm all about the simplicity. I feel like when you overcomplicate cars, especially race cars and drift cars, that's when they become a lot harder to work on, a lot harder to fix, a lot harder to diagnose problems. So definitely enjoy the simple side of mechanical things. All right, making sure I got enough silicone grease in here that the ball bearings won't fall out immediately. Got my tweezers right here. Start popping these into their home. I did see a video where a guy went through, excuse me, a guy went through and primed all his bearings. He washed them in some alcohol, wiped them down really good, and then got them all coated in grease. I'm not going to do that initially. I'm just going to make sure they're nicely greased, because I'm sure this car is going to be getting taken apart soon enough to start some of the mods and stuff like that. Just wanted to get it together today. Do my first live stream. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Let me know if you want me to do more builds on live. Or maybe we could do a Q&A or roast my ride or something like that. Could be fun. So definitely let me know. So all those balls are sitting in there in silicone. And it looks like this bad boy is just going to slide onto that diff plate. Being careful not to lose any ball bearings. Take our next diff plate. And actually, I'm going to set this down carefully, because I'm going to take this one, get some grease going on this bad boy before it goes on. Then it's keyed, so it just slides on like that. Simple. Pick up that, get this back on. Then we pop the bearing in this side of our hex adapter. That gets keyed in to the diff. Try not to have an explosion of ball bearings all over the desk here. Okay, that's in. So after that goes another bearing and this output over that, it looks like. No, bearing goes in after. Tiny balls are elusive. Didn't want those suckers escaping. I may not have gotten that bearing flush. That feels better. All right, bearing. Now there are these pressure washers, and there's a special order they need to go on. I realized after I watched this guy's video, and they're kind of coned. So first one, conical side down. Second one, conical side up. Third one, conical side down. And then the lock nut goes directly onto that. And I may need a wheel here to tighten it up. So you hold the drive shaft, fully tighten the M4 lock nut, and then loosen it by a quarter turn. So I wonder if they mean bottom it out. So that's bottomed out. That was a little more than quartering back. Okay, we got diff action. Feels smooth enough. And then we have these extra parts here. Let's see, we got a washer. Where there was no washer. Oh, there was a washer. Whoops. So that goes after the bearing. So I'm gonna have to loosen this back up before you do that. Yeah, washer goes before the conical washers. Don't want to take the whole diff off. Okay, now the washer can go on. And then our conicals. So, down, up, down, nut. Tighten it down. Quarter turn. Loose. Nice and smooth. Okay. Moving right along. So that's the diff step. Now we have our hex mount. This is going to go over, bolt on with two or three of those little guys. Looks like our hex pin. It's going to go in here and go through that little hole to hold it. Something like so. Thread in these and 3s. Make sure everything's aligned. Oh, you're typing with an Xbox controller. I didn't realize that. Yeah, that would be hard. Gotta love those TV screens using a remote. Any of you guys play Forza Motorsport? It's been a little addiction of mine for the past 8 years since Forza 7 came out. I'm kind of bummed you can't drift in the new Motorsport yet, or there's no drift lobbies. You can drift. But I just got a wheel set up last year, just a G29. I've been having a blast because I used to just play on my remote or on my controller all the time. Okay, next step. So we got bag E. It's gonna be battery mounts. Standoffs. Cut off the flash real quick here. Get our battery plate. These are going in with the 8mm countersunks. And they will just thread on. So it's leaving the notch post at the bottom, threading the narrow to the top. Sometimes I think when you ram them in fast, it heats the plastic up and melts a little bit and then holds tighter when it cools. Just a theory, I haven't actually tested it. Drive those suckers home and then do the pliers method. Finish them off. Is there another 8? Yeah. Get my 8mm and my 6mm mixed up. Actually, nice. Fits the hex wrench. battery mount is on. These appear to be the body post holders. And I set those aside somewhere. There. These are going with button head 8s. Give those the old plier method. Just snug them up, set them aside. Well, I guess I should make sure I have them in corresponding orientations. That one's going like this. This one will go like that. All right, body posts, check. Flip the page here. Battery mount continues. Bag E, I'm assuming that's where I'm at. I kind of lost track. Got some little spacers. They're 10 mil, they're gonna get 18 mil screws. All right, adjustable battery mounts. Not sure what battery I'm gonna run in this. I was thinking using a big 5,000 milliamp crawler battery. Let it roll. Keep my nice 2S for my track car. My shorty packs, I should say. This will be a cool piece to make out of carbon or titanium, just like I did on the RDX. Anything that's flat. Haven't mastered the three-dimensional stuff yet. Okay, I see. The body mounts will mount to the battery tray there. So I'll need to get those on first. Okay. Cool design. Kind of like how they did that there. Simple, yet effective. These nylocks, on the other hand, have given me trouble all afternoon. Could be because I'm rushing it. It's not against their quality. Nothing is stripped out yet. Those would get the needle nose treatment. It's kind of a tight area to get in there. Turn these down along here. Sorry, I'm realizing most of that's been done off camera. I'm gonna stay focused. Battery tray starting to take shape here. How long does this usually take to make? Well, it just depends on the kit. These are simpler kits. A couple hours, since I'm talking and trying to concentrate making a video, maybe a little longer. Other kits, some people take days or weeks to build them. But typically 3 or 4 hours you can get a kit built. Then, you know, it's another few hours, get electronics mounted, pondered how you want to tuck wires. Take some time. I enjoy taking the time to build stuff. It's kind of like meditating for me. Figure out how things work kind of from the inside. But that's me. I'm a mechanically minded type of person. Some people don't like building and they pay people to build their kits. That's fine too, as long as you have fun when you're driving these things. That's what it's all about. Saw somebody get mad at me on Instagram because I was jumping my RD 2.0. They're like, how could you do that to an RD? I'm like, well, it's fun to drive cars aggressively because you can't necessarily do it in real life in your real car without endangering yourself or those around you. So with an RC car, why not just go full send all the time? Kind of my view. You break them, you fix them, you repeat. And that being said, I do have shelf queens too, so they all get driven. They don't just live on a shelf. Here's our battery assembly. What are you building, Diego? Can you read the title? Building a, do you like LP-86 rear-wheel drive RC drift car. Okay, so everything's gonna go through those posts. This looks like it could be a challenging assembly point. Combining the front and the rear here, so it might be a little difficult. Because this has the mount on top like that. All right, this is going to be awkward. Sorry, guys. Just get a couple of these threads started. That's also where the foam pads should have gone. They don't have, but I have some ideas. That is an awkward step. Look at that loosey-goosey. Oh, I did not put any O-rings? No. Get this other one mounted up. Been here since the start, seen the build before, but I can say it's crazy looking build for sure. Yeah, the shocks are definitely different. It's absolutely a different kind of build. Glad, cool to see the subscribers get to choose this one, because I almost went and got the Traxxas, made an outside bash car. But I think this will kind of be a better, this will be a better option for the channel, I think. I was doing my research on the chassis last night, and I had stumbled across the Facebook group, and it was cool going through the Facebook group and seeing all the kind of DIY mods and stuff people are doing to this chassis to increase the performance, and it's something I'm excited to try out myself. Yeah, exactly. Spending time doing the build right, and then you can fix problems yourself when you know how the car goes together. You kind of know where to start looking, or how to tune your suspension is a big one that I think a lot of people overlook. People don't know how to build shocks. But the fun thing of this hobby is also nothing is like detrimental if you mess up your toys. So there looks like kind of the base of the chassis. Oh, I did not get the shock on. Where it should be. That super smooth shock that we built earlier. Okay, there's the shock belt. You can kind of see that rear pivot working, and then that's kind of a look at the compression there. And then our front roll. Take a look at our instructions here, see where I'm at. Yeah, all those posted in. And the battery bands, the body mount stuff, how to set gear mesh. And then the pinion looks interesting. It's got a spacer pinion gear adapter. So let's crack that bag open and take a look at this pinion. Maybe we'll get the motor mounted up. battery bands. Well, if I had a battery in there to support them, they can go on later. We got some wheel nuts. So this is our pinion adapter. Interesting to see. Oh, it's because this is 64 pitch, not a 48p. So that's going to lock onto that. Okay. Again, this is going to be a brushed, simple, basic electronic setup, so to me a torque tune motor. You built one at the beginning of the year and haven't run it yet. Come on. I'm trying to run this thing today. Let's see if I can get a view for you guys. I'm going to get the grub screw started on this tiny little thing. Let's see if we get the car up like that. Get these screws set. Figure out where my holes are in this motor. So it looks like I'll be able to go in just vertically like that. Bend my leads. This is not going to be the permanent motor. I think part of the video series I'm going to do with this car. I was wanting to buy maybe a nicer brushed motor and just see what a nice brushed motor would feel like in comparison to the super cheap RTR, to me a TT02 motor. But they make that sport tuned RZ. Has like the capacitors and stuff soldered on the back here. Cool fancy looking can with adjustable can timing on a brushed motor, so that could be a cool option. Get this pinion on. Yeah, alright. I wasn't sure if the shaft on that brushed motor was going to be long enough. Saying a 0.2 mil gear mesh. Just wiggle it till there's a little play. Okay. Set that gear mesh. And then figure out how to mount the 1060 here. This is another piece I'll probably change. I will do the Hobby Wing 1080 brushed ESC. Should I go there? Can maybe go underneath? I don't know. I don't have double-sided sticky tape on. So we could go Ghetto. Could go Velcro. Velcro ESC? Maybe little E6000 on there? Yeah, why not? Right? Or should I just put some wheels on and we look at it? I definitely want to use double-sided tape on my gyro, because I use this on a lot of different cars. Should I finish the front bumper here? And see if I got some magnet mounts. Let's take a look at this. That's good. I've yet to see an LP-86 on the track. There's a few guys at our track run them. I've seen a couple. Some cool videos on YouTube. Take a look. I'm just going through the instructions to check out this front bumper. I'm gonna go back. So it does just go through the front. Bolts to itself. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was bolting to the front arm assembly there or not. So I can crank these in. Probably snug up those body posts. And we'll just bolt this on for now. Really? No one at GGT has a LP-86? They seem like they're a pretty popular track. San Diego, right? Hi there, Michael. How you doing? Welcome to the live stream. We're just finishing up the D-like LP-86 build here. Getting the front bumper finished up, got the motor mounted. Kind of starting to brain ideas where to mount, excuse me, where to mount the ESC, where to mount the gyro, and how to mount. If you guys think that I should E6000 that ESC onto the back plate, let me know. E6000 is nice because it's removable. It's not super glue. But then I won't be able to wire it for an hour or two till it cures. How about we throw some wheels on? That'd be fun. What do you think? Yeah. These are wide boys, but they look dope. Yeah, those are just good looking wheels. Yeah. All right, guys. See if we get this a better view. So, definitely a wobbly car. It's pretty cool. I've saw people do this, like, it's got more flex than my crawler. Yeah, that's insane. Diff actually feels pretty good. See if it loosens up. Alignment looks pretty zeroed out initially looking. Give you guys a shot of the Ackerman here. So initially looking, it looks pretty good. It's all the thing having to do O-rings because of servo jitter. So that's something that's definitely on my mind of one of the mods that's gonna need to be done. I've also saw the Lexan mod. People are even using like TF2 leaf springs, but going across this plane across both chassis to limit the amount of roll and allow the chassis come back to normal after leaning. So that's all stuff that I'll do after I drive it stock. I want to drive this kind of how it is, basic, simple, not a lot of things that could go wrong here. So yeah, got to get this ESC on. If you guys want to hang out for a minute, I will take a look in my stash and see if I got some double-sided tape so we can set that up there. And we'll need to mount the gyro. V4 Yokomo, one of my favorites. I still love my Reeboks, but the V4 is just old trusty. Well, trust me, I want to rip it. That was the plan, but I forgot that I don't have double-sided sticky tape. All right, thanks for waiting. Sorry about that, but I found a little piece of foam that's going to be perfect for the gyro. Probably just center chassis mount that sucker for now. Just gonna chop that into square. Thanks, I'm glad you guys like the build. Thank you guys for tuning into the live stream. I really appreciate it. I was kind of nervous because I've never done a live stream before, and I wasn't sure if I'd just be sitting here talking to myself for an hour or two, but I can definitely say I'm stoked that you guys showed up. I really appreciate my subscribers. Sorry, I just dropped the ESC. I'm gonna clean this with some alcohol, just so my sticky tape sticks good. And then I'm one of those people, I like to have my gyro square and facing forward and worry about the wires later. More just a luck thing. You know, you can mount them any way and they work fine. There's our gyro. Get that connected there. Figure out what to do with these wires. Oh, the receiver, that's what that little piece of sticky tape will be good for. Throw this on my Noble. I love my Noble, even though like on my drift car I use a 10PX. I definitely don't need it. It was definitely overkill when I already had a Noble. I use my Noble for my crawlers now and then kind of my bashers because I don't want to take my 10PX outside. That sounds silly. But I am doing a whole video build series on this car, and I've actually already started it. So that'll be coming up in the next couple weeks. What I'm gonna do is modify this. We're probably gonna design some parts and some accessories for the LP, and then test it. I wanted to build it stock and run. I'm a big believer of running stuff stock first, just because it's pretty cool to feel how the modifications and upgrades actually increase performance rather than a placebo effect like I see so many of the crawler guys do, where they're just like, oh, I need as much flex as possible, but it actually makes their cars drive worse. So it's good to drive something stock, feel what it might need in terms of mods, performance gains, and then when you do add those upgrades and you feel the upgraded or the enhanced performance, then it kind of makes doing the mods a little more meaningful, because you can feel how they've improved the car's performance rather than not appreciating how bad the car was before. Probably didn't explain that great, but we had E6000 flowing out here. So I'm just gonna dab that on now. And I think for now, I'm just gonna center it here. And I can sit here and hold this until it tacks up. If you guys got any other questions, feel free to ask. I might be sitting here for a few. I don't know if I could get my clamp on there square. Looks sick. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I think this is a cool looking chassis. Just the way it moves. That's like the coolest part. So how about you guys? What's your favorite RC drift car? Does it have one? Mine's for sure the RDX right now, just because I've got so much time driving it. Just one of those cars I can pick up and immediately hop into a train and it just feels great. Just confidence is really high with the RDX. Driven MD1s, had MD1, YD2ZX, YD2S, MST, RMX, RDS, numerous different chassis. The RDX has been my favorite. All right, starting to tack up there. Once it stays on its own, I wanted to grab a couple measurements and just see what the width is with these 8 metal wheels. I wasn't sure if they had a suggestion in the instructions for wheel width. Sometimes they'll put, they recommend 6 mil offset, or maybe they did. I tend to not read the instructions, but look at the pictures. Somebody called me out on that the other day with a Yokomo diff, because I had one leaking, and he goes, "Did you look at the instructions? It says put grease on the gasket, seals it up." Sure enough, put grease on the gasket, sealed it right up. So that's kind of funny. Okay, so servo, gyro, receiver. You guys know the old saying, 1 to turn, 2 to burn. Third one's for gain. Nope. I'm not sure if the receiver cable's gonna range. Which means I'm gonna have to move receiver. Which it could go up underneath the battery now, maybe. Wonder if the double-sided's salvageable. One to turn, 2 to burn. Don't really like that wire placement the best. And that's lost all its sticky properties. Let's see, what can we do here? Okay, mount it there. That'd be kind of cool to tuck it. Start of a little wire tuck. I'm not going to do it on live stream, obviously. It's going to take some pondering to get it right. Messy wires bother me. But it's good to have a rat's nest start so you can see where you've improved upon. So yeah, there it is. LP-86, basically ready to run once this glue dries. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Not a bad build. Did that in what, hour and a half? Maybe a little longer, talking to you guys. It's always fun. This was fun. Just want to say thanks, guys. Like, was not expecting this type of outreach for the first live stream I've ever done. But I really appreciate those of you that hung out, joined the conversation, and checked out the Shredcraft LP-86 beginning here. So that was the kit build. And like I said, I'm going to be doing a full series on the channel showcasing upgrades and mods and performance stuff I'm doing to this car. And yeah, I think we could make a lot of cool parts. I think we can design some stuff. Before we go, let me get the camera out so I can film a clip for the video, and then if you guys subscribe to my channel, you can check out the video series that's going to be coming out probably starting next week as I get the content together. But I am actually got another video on that camera mount I was talking about that I'm using. So if you haven't already, be sure to check out the reel or the short that I uploaded on my YouTube today. It's got some awesome driving, kind of a cool, unique perspective, and I did a video explaining how I built it and if you wanted to build one yourself. So yeah, here is the LP-86 from D-Like. Just built this on the live stream. We got all our subscribers tuned in, having a conversation here. I really wasn't sure how it was going to go, but had a lot more people joining us than I expected, so I'm really stoked on that. And yeah, capturing this clip, so say hi to yourselves in the future, guys. And yeah, kind of got the electronics going, got mounted up here. Wires are still a mess, but I will be cleaning that up soon. And yeah, just want to give everyone a big thanks for tuning in on the live stream today and checking out the video. So I think I'm probably gonna wrap that up on that note, but make sure if you don't already, follow me on Instagram at ShredcraftRC and subscribe here on YouTube at ShredcraftRC for more awesome RC content. So really appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for watching. Hi, we're leaving, so bye. Unless anyone has any other questions, I guess I could leave it open for a couple minutes while I clean up here. Maybe let me know what you guys want to see. If you have like some parts or ideas for the LP-86, we will, or sorry, I keep saying we, it's just me here. I will be doing more videos on the LP-86. Definitely do a video on the body build because I think that'll be a fun one. I think I can come up with something cool and old school, either that like 2000 Skyline, the original Nissan, or a BMW 2002 or an E30. Maybe my old Supra? No, just kidding. I really don't know yet. So if you guys have ideas on what body that isn't a GT86, leave it down in the comments. Be sure to check it out. I'm just kind of cleaning up here, seeing if you guys had any other questions, but if not, we can go ahead and end this live stream. I think that went relatively smoothly. Actually didn't lose an E-clip. Nothing caught on fire. No blood was drawn. So overall, that's a win. A few more parts to go on here once I clean up the wiring. Oh yeah, didn't see my Instagram. I jumped the rookie drift, trying to break some speed records and airtime records, so that broke. Got to glue that back together again. Cool. Well, as I'm cleaning up here, just want to say thanks again. Keep repeating it. But I was pretty thrilled with how that went today. Thought I'd be here with zero viewers on my first ever live stream. But yeah, cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Just want to say, really appreciate it. And I will catch you on the next live stream. Probably be doing some more of these since you guys enjoyed it. There's my mess of bags. Gotta clean that up next. So, D like LP-86, Shredcraft RC. Stay cool.